My name is Shawnee Kish, and you're listening to Indigenous Setlist. Nobody is going to save me. If I don't figure out how to save myself, then I'm done. Yes, I have never been more sure of many things in my life. I'm a bit of a gypsy. I kind of run around, lived in many different kind of places, but right now I reside in Edmonton, Alberta, which is my home. But I grew up in Ontario in a small town, called Welland. And my family's roots are from the Six Nations Grand River back in Ontario, is where our indigeneity comes from. As far as music goes, art and being creative and the voice that I have and the stories that I have to tell are very purposeful. I feel like the creator has a purpose for me, and the gift that I've been given, I recognized and realized when I was struggling in my younger years as a teenager with my identity, was that I could use music as a tool to do something in this world that was impactful and powerful to not only my journey, but others as well. Honestly, like ever since I was a little girl, I just dreamed of singing to people, and I was singing to people. I kind of always knew it. And I remember in like grade 7, there was like the chart of like in careers class, you pick, do you want to be a plumber? Do you want to be a doctor? Like we're kind of gearing up for what are you going to do with, as you move on and forward with your life. And I thought, well, where's the option that I can be in the arts and be creative and be, in music? And that wasn't there. So do you got to pick something else? But I thought, no, this is what I'm going to do. I am going to do it. And then I entered in a pageant, and I think it was, I don't know, maybe 13 or something. And I entered in this like local pageant, Miss All Canadian. And I was like this awkward, weird kind of, it didn't fit. Like the shoe didn't fit, but they had a talent segment. And I performed a Shania Twain song, and that fit. And then I started Shania Twain impersonating when I was that age at like local kind of like festivals and people's like private birthday parties. I'd show up at a restaurant and like sing some sort of Shania song. And then I did that for a few years and just kind of got my chops kind of like, singing and performing in front of people. Doing that's where I started, and it grew. It just kept growing from there. I grew up listening to Beethoven, Yanni. We had rock and roll in the house. We had country music in the house. Like there was always music around me. So I had an eclectic understanding of genres. But when I started Shania Twain impersonating, I kind of discovered my love for country music and the heart in country music and just, the storytelling. And that's, and then I started looking up to female country artists, which I needed at that age. My mom is status from the Six Nations Grand River, but that is not even something really I understood until I was older. It's not something we talked about. She worked very hard in her teenage years to hide that. She was beat up by a group of teenagers for being Indigenous. And like she had a hard time being one of the only Indigenous kids in her hometown. So she really worked hard to hide that, and so that's not really something we talked about. Culture wasn't something I had access to when I was younger, and that left it. My family suffered the consequences of that deeply and still does. And I've had to fight in my own life to combat those consequences of not being close to our culture. My struggles were deeper than I could handle. I just felt like such a misfit. I felt like the kid that didn't belong. And that was very deep. Like that wound was very, very deep. And so, to be honest, it got really desperate. I was struggling with depression, and then it got as deep as, suicidal thoughts and actions. And I came to a point of my life that I felt like nobody is going to save me. And if I don't figure out how to save myself, then I'm done. And it's either be done or figure out how to fight. And so I understood what that meant, and I started writing that down. I understood that I didn't want to leave this world and not be done yet. Like I wasn't done yet. I still felt like there's still so much. It's just the pain of not feeling understood in the world. And I started writing and playing music and creating in a different way that wasn't someone else's songs. It was what I had to say, and it was my story. And it became healing.
But there's no one coming for me. I was born uninvited. They say the streets are paved with gold, and the lights are warm and holy. This is where the good ones go. If you believe that story, but I know what they're hiding. Oh, mercy, mercy, oh, my soul.
I know that the power that music has. Like I attribute music to saving my life. It gave me something to live for. And when I think about young Indigenous children specifically, how those same challenges that I felt, how lonely they can be, but how important also they can be as almost a tool. Like I have learned to use pain as a tool. And so I deeply want to get that message across to young people that this is not, your struggle and your pain is real, but it doesn't have to be your forever. You fight like hell for yourself and don't give up. Never, ever give up. Like imagine, what if I gave up? I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have the chance to storytell. I wouldn't have my daughter. I wouldn't have my life. I'm so glad that I did not give up. And I want young people to understand that there's so much more than what you're dealing with right now out there. And I do believe in like what I went through had a meaning and purpose. And it's helped me understand the world from a different perspective of, overcoming. And I use that every single day. And so, any chance I get to reach young people and participate in, sharing that knowledge is crucial for me.
This land's laced with curses. You just gotta survive. No, there's no winning in war. Oh, it's so black and white.
You are so powerful. I hope you realize that. You probably don't, but I hope that you do, because you can do something here, especially if you have pain. you have understanding and knowledge. Take your gift, do something with it, be something. Don't give in to what people try to do to you, because they will try if they haven't already. And oh God, I could talk forever about it. It's the only thing I really know in my life is that is what it's about. I wish I heard these stories when I was younger. I just felt like I was always looking at myself in the mirror going, what are you gonna do about it? What are you gonna do now? Like, what's next? But if I heard a story that was, no, you're next, because you can be, but, because I did, so you can, but again, it brings it back to music. I felt like I got that, even though nobody said those words in plain English. I got that from listening to Etta James sing her ass off to me, like personally, and, Shania Twain and Whitney Houston and, all of those females that I listened to and went, I can hear that they understand. I know that they get me. I know that I can be that too. Like I know that they've gone through something because I can hear it. I can feel it. And that's what made them who they are. And I know I can do that too. It became something that gave me meaning and purpose. And I thought, if I could do this for me, think about, if I could be one of the artists that I look up to, any of those female artists that I look up to, if I can do that with my life, and my life could mean something, and it's worth fighting for. So that's when I started fighting for myself. It's who I am, so it's definitely in there, but I speak my truth when I write music. And if there's something it's less about, okay, I want to include indigeneity in my studio session today, so let's do Indigenous music today. It's more like I'm thinking really hard about what it means to be two-spirit, and how sad it is that we've lost our way in our history, and how our ancestors celebrated two-spirit people. I want to write about that. I want young people to know that you deserve to feel that pride in who you are. So I have to write about that today. And I get outside pressure of, okay, you got to write that radio song, Shawnee, let's go, radio song. And it's like, it happens. If the timing was the timing, if it's about one of the songs I wrote about who I am and what I believe in and what I wanted to say, then it happens. And it has to be real. Like, it all has to be real. And my stories, they're from all different kinds of walks of life, of who I am and who I've been throughout my life and who I want to be. So it just pours out in my writing, and then whatever happens to that just happens. I think finding my community continues. That quest still continues. I grew up off reserve. And so, part of me feels like, and even though I am status from the Six Nations Grand River and I carry a card, that sort of validation doesn't feel enough. And so I work hard to be a part of my community, even though I feel at times unwelcome, because I didn't grow up on the reserve. And so I work hard on the outside to advocate for Indigenous youth, to make an impact for Two-Spirit youth, to do things that I do have control over. I'm still working on the community part. I do struggle with that deeply, especially as of lately. But it's kind of always something that I've struggled with. It's like sometimes I feel like I don't fit anywhere. And aha moments are when I'm standing in front of someone dancing and just having the time of their life and having fun, or someone who's crying because the song Two-Spirit means something to them that we both understand the depth of. Don't fail me now. Freedom to claim back to the place. That's when I know that I'm in the right place and I'm doing the right thing. And I mean, the industry and accolades or lack of accolades or any of that, I mean, I'd be lying if I said I didn't, they weren't, they don't weigh heavy on me because there are pressures. But I try to remain focused on what's the real reason I'm doing this? Why am I doing this? Because if it's for an accolade, then I'm done. I don't want to do it anymore. It's not worth it. It's those come and go, and at the end of the day, they won't fill my heart with purpose, but people do. That's always been the struggle. But I've worked hard for my mental health, and I have a beautiful wife and a beautiful daughter, and I try to maintain like this healthy bubble for me to exist in. So when it does get, kind of clouded where I feel like the outside noise or the world noise of feeling inadequate as a gay person and religion and feeling the pressures of religion, and being female in country music and feeling the pressures of that or the inequities of that. And then being Indigenous and feeling like I don't really know where I fit there either. And I just started talking about that because that's a tough one for me. It still feels very vulnerable to find my footing there and know that, to try to walk a good road and be someone who does something impactful and meaningful, but, not feel accepted all the time. So it's just, I'm still looking for that footing for community. I feel like I'm just getting started now. Like, I feel like this past year I made this like crazy decision last minute where I was like, no, we have to go all out with this album and it's country. I know it. And everybody's like, Shawnee, what in the hell? I said, I just know. I just know, just like I know in my heart that my wife was the love of my life and that music is something that I have to do. This is where I have to be. And we're going to have to fight for that because I had people tell me, you're female and it's not going to be kind to you. And I'm also not a young female, I'm a mature one. And also you're gay and that's going to be hard too. And also you're Indigenous. And someone said something like, I haven't heard any Indigenous country artists kind of pop off in country music radio yet. So what makes her think she's going to accomplish that? And it's like hearing things like that. It's like, well, actually, this is all the more reason to be country. This is all the more reason to go back to my roots and do what I need to do. All of my songs usually, like, they have to, but typically, especially on that album, were about like self-identity and struggle or honoring and, empowering self. And it kind of is about that. But I didn't, the album was done when I decided this needed to be full country. And it was already done. We were a week out where it was going to mastering and we were done. Done vocals, we were done cutting instruments, we were done. So we kind of had to go back in and we had 7 days to rip things apart. And everybody was like, are you sure you want to do this? And I was like, yes. I have never been more sure of many things in my life. For different reasons, I like different songs. I love a good ballad. The Take Me Home song we just did.
Small town, happy home where music plays until the morning. She made lemonade, he'd play guitar, and we'd fall asleep on the floor. I don't want anything.
I like that song because I got to come out, and I specifically wanted to be eat my voice because I had something to prove. And so I came on that stage take me home, oh yeah, a solo moment. I was like, take me home, and I gave it everything because I was like, no, this is why I'm here.
Take me home, heaven
and I had something to prove. And so I like that song for that reason. And then I like going, and this is right at dawn.
You ready?
That's like, everybody's included in that, but that was my song that it's like, I am doing this. Whether you accept me, whether you like me, I'm not going to take no for an answer. We ride at dawn.
We ride it down, yeah. We ride it down. We ride it down, yeah. Come on, come on. Hear that?
And you get to dance and get that tambourine, and you get to have fun with the bass player. You get to, it's like this moment where it's like, I hope you feel good after this. I hope you walk away from this performance and you feel like, you can take on that drive home. As soon as Chapter 1 came out, which was my debut album, I already wanted to get back into studio and write, because now I knew what I want. I really knew what I wanted it to sound like, but I had something different to say now. And especially going through these past experiences in the past year of, walking in my country boots, I've never felt more at home and at peace, but at the same time out of sorts. So there's just so much to say on that. And, I've always been big on taking struggle and pain and things that I'm going through and turn that into fuel for a fire that I hope I can burn. And so there's a lot of music coming. There's a ton of music coming, and definitely shows. I'm busier more now than ever. And yeah, so just lots more growing to do, for sure.